Joyce Meyer, who is, in my opinion, I think the largest, most popular evangelist on the planet, she says, "Don't ever wish you were on this stage. Don't ever wish you were in my position, because I have to sacrifice more than you even know."
I'm Cristy Code Red, and you're listening to Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle, where we believe food holds the power to heal or poison, and we believe our society has been misled regarding proper nutrition and weight loss. You're in the right place if you're looking for some straight up truth, because I'm here to shed light on the lies and brainwashing that has taken place over the past 5 decades. Thanks so much for listening.
Welcome back to another episode of I messed up my own podcast name. Let me, oh, you know what? Podcasting guys, when you go to edit this, leave that in. Welcome back to another episode of Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle. I am your host, Cristy Code Red, author, entrepreneur, retired professional boxer, here with Cari today. We've got a good episode for you guys. But first, we want to show you guys something. Cari has got a pretty impressive. Cari, you've got something pretty impressive there.
Guys, let me just tell you, this is probably one of my favorite substances on the planet. No, it's not gold. No, it's not diamonds, but it's something I use every single day. Can any of you guess what it would be? Here it is. For those of you that can't see, this is Redmond Real Salt. I buy it in bulk. Yes, in case you're wondering, this is a 10-pound bucket. That's how much I love Redmond Real Salt. I have to buy it 10 pounds at a time because I use it every single time I consume food, and even some of our rebels use it in their water a little tiny bit just to keep their electrolytes up.
Yeah, we use a 1 teaspoon per gallon. Shake, shake, shake. I pulled out of my cupboard here at the cabin a couple of my Redmond things. Yep, you got your seasoned salt. I've got my ancient sea salt that is in a grind cap, and then the onion salt, the onion powder, organic. So this is a high quality product. And the reason we like Redmond, well, for a bunch of reasons, they treat our rebels really great. They give us a 15% off coupon every time. They let you combine coupons. They're super nice there. They support our Code Red events. They invite us to they invite us on their company parties. Like we love Redmond, and they treat our people really good, but it's a high quality product. It's not the over processed, bleached kind of, products that you get from the Morton's table salt. This is a high quality product.
And here's what I want each of you to know. When you buy Redmond Real Salt, not only are you supporting Code Red by using Cristy discount code, you're getting a discount, you're supporting Code Red. You're also supporting a family-owned business of really neat people. And on top of that, you're not going to pay that much more for Redmond Real Salt as you do for regular crap, bleached, processed with chemicals salt. And you guys, the other thing I want you to know is that the Redmond Real Salt actually has iodine in it. People worry about iodine for, goiters and things like that. It's a big subject. It's on the help desk if you have a question. But Redmond Real Salt has iodine. Does not have chemicals. This is delicious. I have organic seasoning salt, and it is unrefined mineral salt, amazing taste, no sugar, and it's organic. Like it's not any more expensive than buying that big barrel of crap from your local grocery store. So I would encourage you to really do it and use Cristy's discount code. You're supporting us and a great, great company.
A portion of your sale goes back into Code Red. Did you guys know that? And I'm not trying to guilt you into buying from us, but a portion of that that's a huge bucket of salt, sis. Yeah. A portion of your sale of what you paid Redmond goes back into Code Red, which helps me further be able to create more products. It's an excellent quality. And Cari and I were just talking. I was just talking to Jade on the phone before you came on here, sis. And she said, I use Redmond every single day. And I was like, you know what? I do too. So I said that to you, Cari, and you said, I do too. And I'm like, well, let's bring it up.
I even use it multiple times a day because when I make Brandon's breakfast, Redmond real salt and the organic salt, the seasoning salt, goes into his breakfast every morning when he has his farm fresh scrambled eggs. And then when I finally eat my meal, I use it. And then if I prep any food, I'm not even joking. Like, I didn't buy this for good looks. Like, I actually am going to use this whole entire thing.
Yeah. It's an incredible product, but it's just so incredible. It's so important for you to balance your electrolytes, and you need a good quality salt. It's gonna make a difference. Yes, there is a difference between the low grade stuff you buy in the store and Redmond. And so yes, you can get a discount. We'll link it up below, but if you don't want to look below, then it's coderedlifestyle.com/real salt. And the code is always going to be code red 15 to get your 15% off.
Yep. Type in code red 15 when you check out and you will get a discount. And I believe Redmond even does free shipping if you purchase over a certain amount. So you guys, they have a clay mask that is amazing for women for their faces. They have toothpaste. It's not called toothpaste, but it's amazing. So it's not just salt. Check it out. You guys will not be disappointed. I have never purchased anything from Redmond that I have not absolutely loved.
Me too. Yeah. Today we're talking about something that actually Sergeant Major Brandon Thompson discovered. And Cari and I were laughing about it, and we said that would make a great podcast. We're talking about the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. And Cari, before you tell your story on how this happened, I kind of was waiting here and I kind of started Googling the grass is always greener. And where did that come from? It can date back. I'm looking here at Google. That whole saying dates back to 43 BC, where this poet, I cannot pronounce his name, but he says the harvest is always more fruitful in another man's field. And so basically, some people say, it's you always want what you can't have, and you think that other people seem to be in a better position than you, although they may not really be in a better position than you. And one said that everything you want is always out of reach, and I was like, oh, I don't like that one as much, but a lot of people have this a little different take on it. But across the board, the grass is always greener means that you think you're gonna want that. And Cari has got a great farm story that brought up this whole thing.
So thank you. I love the way you introduced that, because that just kind of gives us a great, conceptualization of where we're going to go. So recently, we have 60 acres behind our house, and we're letting the neighbor, Farmer John, run his red Angus on there, and that's fine. We have a deal. We have a cow all picked out and everything that's going to be ours this fall. I don't want to see Thompson on its name tag. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm good not seeing that. But so the 20 acres in front of our house, Cristy, in Kentucky, it rains as it is today. Everything grows very quickly. Your produce grows quickly. Your grass grows quickly. If you're going to mow your lawn, you have to do it more often. One of the most wonderful things about Kentucky, however, in the front, my big 20 acres in front, the fields were like up to my hips in hay and just in the grass. And so I told Brandon, we have got to figure this out. He said, let me go ahead and buy a tractor and a brush hog, and I will take care of that. And I was like, Brandon, like, get another excuse to buy another toy, which men are just children. So we decided to go ahead and buy a herd of sheep. Not a herd, excuse me. Those are people that are writing a flock of sheep, a flock of chickens, a flock of sheep. So we bought a flock of sheep, about 20 plus of them, and they came to live at our house. Little baby ram lambs, an adult ram named Ringo, who's hilarious. And then some ewes, some mamas that are still nursing. Some of them are bred back. I mean, we just got a bunch of people. They're wonderful. In fact, 2 of them escaped in my front yard as I pulled up. I was like, okay, it's a good thing we live in the middle of nowhere. So we got these lambs, we got the herd of sheep. They're out there eating on the grass. They're having a great old time. Well, Brandon decides to bush hog anyway, just to make it a little bit easier for them to eat. It's not so tall. So on their side of the pasture, their 10-acre portion, it's, grass cut into nice rows, Cristy. And of course, it's hot in Kentucky. It's starting to dry out. It's starting to look like some good hay. On the other side of the fence, Cristy, is the same exact, like, there's just a fence. It's the same exact alfalfa mix. It's cut down. It's starting to dry, everything. And Cristy, all day, all day. Those sheep have spent trying to get across the fence to the other side. So the other day, Brandon said, unless you live on a farm, you really don't get what it means to think that the grass is going to be greener on the other side. And I was like, that's such a good point, because guess what? On their side of the 10 acres or on the other side of the 10 acres, it's the same grass, y'all. Now, do I think sheep are very smart? No, I would not put them as the smartest animals I've ever met. My pigs are a little smarter, but Cristy, is the exact same thing on both sides of the fence.
Yeah. And it's so funny because Cari and I were raised on a farm, and there are memes, we saw this firsthand where the cows reach through the fence to get that one blade of grass. Yeah, and they've got that long tongue out there, and they're trying to get, and there's a ton of grass on their side. And it's so funny when Brandon brought that up, it made me think of our childhood, and I was like, man, we've actually witnessed this where they have busted down the fence trying to get to some blade of grass that was no different than their own blade of grass. And I've heard the saying, if you're dating, they said that no matter how pretty she is, someone somewhere is tired of her crap. And it's so funny. You're so sick of your husband, but believe me, there's a lonely woman out there that'd be happy to take him off your hands for you. And you think, well, so-and-so would be better. Everybody comes with their own crap. And to tie this back around to weight loss, we have seen this, and you have done it, Cari, and I have done it. And you guys listening, you've done it. You've jumped from program to program, thinking it's going to be that magic pill.
And they do, Cristy. And people spend their entire lives, whether it's looking for partners in relationships, whether it's trying to find the weight loss, whether it's trying to find the house, the car, the look, the body, the family, the clothes. They spend their entire lives, Cristy, always looking across the fence, always thinking that row of hay that's drying is way better. When those sheep went down their bellies and went across the fence to the other side, Brandon goes, well, I hope you're happy. Like, you just scraped barbed wire all the way down your wool. For what? It's the same thing. How many times are you guys scraping barbed wire across your wool, damaging yourself to get to the other side of the fence to find out that it's the exact same hay? It's the exact same feed. It's the same grass. Because no matter what side of the fence you were on, there are problems on both sides of the fence. It doesn't change just because you've gone underneath the barbed wire.
Whenever I write custom programs and Cari medically screens them, we have a question there. There are 33 questions. One of them is, have you ever tried another nutrition program or a diet? And of course, people list, all four dozen, they list everything, and they're like, oh yeah. And we're always really thankful when people are super honest and transparent on the custom programs, because it gives us a really good idea how to write your program the best, and kind of where you're at right now in your life. And they all say the same thing, and they all do the same thing. They say, yeah, it works, but then I go back to my own bull crap. I go back to the same baloney that I went through before, and nothing ever changes. And I also heard Joyce Meyer say this on one of her podcasts. She said that she was telling a story about a lady that went to her pastor and said, Pastor, I'm getting ready to get married for the 7th time. And she says, I want you to pray for this husband, that this one will work out. And this husband, you pray that this husband is going to be the one that treats me good. And the pastor said, well, I'm here to tell you, lady, you're the only common denominator in all these marriages. So I think you're the one with the problem. And I was like, ooh, that's a lady who definitely thought the grass was greener on the other side.
Right. And how many years did she waste, Cristy, trying to find someone that was going to fit her needs when she needed to be happy with herself? She needed to find a place where she could be the right kind of partner for somebody, and where she could promote, a healthy relationship. How many years, Cristy, when you were talking about the girls saying, no matter somewhere how cute she is, I'll never forget. I never forget. I think it was mom or you or me or whatever. We have all this sage advice about men. And we said, you're right. Somebody somewhere is tired of his crap. The truth is no matter how cute that guy is or great or whatever, guess what? You have to decide which set of crap you want to deal with. That's what you do with a husband. I'm sorry. I know y'all are be like, he's the one God chose for me. Well, I think there are a lot of ones out there. Sorry. God gave me for the ups and downs. Okay. But I have just, with my husband, with Brandon, I have found someone that he doesn't mind putting up with my crap. I don't mind putting up with his crap. And we get enough out of the relationship. We love each other. We love being together. But do I think it's the only person I ever could have been with in any kind of alternate reality? No, that's ridiculous. So if you have a mindset that there's that one, or that it's the idea that there is that thing, that something, that newer model of the car, that one pair of shoes. If you're always feeling like there's only that one, then Cristy, you're going to spend your whole life trying to get over the fence, your whole life. And then you look back at your life and you go, what was it? A series of purses, a series of facelifts, a series of exercise classes, a series of diets, never getting to eat real food, always on something liquid, always saying no, drinking Diet Coke, smoking cigarettes to stay skinny. I'm not trying to be extreme, but y'all, there are people that live their lives like this.
Our dad is an LCPC, and he has done a lot of work for Code Red. And back before he retired and he was counseling, he said, I heard him, I'm sure maybe you heard this too. He said, in relationships, if you have more good days than bad days per week, it's a good relationship. And I was like, at first, when I heard that, I was like, that's crap. I can't believe it. Like, more good days. So you're telling me that if you have 4 good days and 3 bad days, that it's a good relationship. And I always kind of like, that's a pessimistic. Well, now that I'm getting older, I was like, yeah, because I married a man. I completely agree with you, sis. I think there are a lot of the ones out there that I could make it work. And I've been married a few times and I've made a lot of mistakes, and no judgment from Cari or Cristy.
Yeah, no, it won't be. No, I'm not going to talk about anybody being married a couple of times.
Cari, when Miles and I were closing on our loan, we refinanced our house for 2.7.
I know what you're going to say.
I
know what you're going to say. I already know. Like, I'm going to text it to you and see if it's what you're going to say.
Oh my God, Cari, I can't even, I'm laughing so hard. We refinanced for 2.75%, and we were closing, and we got to that page of our closing papers that said all the last names I've had. Oh,
I knew it. I'm getting ready to go to the doctor tomorrow, and they were like, put your maiden name. I was like, is that the only one you want? Like, because I can give you that one, but I also have a couple other ones if you'd like it. By the way, I am not proud of that, but it is a reality, guys. And I hate it when people stay in judgment. I do believe that there probably are people out there that find the one, they stay married forever, but my picker was broken in the beginning. So I didn't do a good job picking. If I had picked Brandon off the bat, it probably would have been.
Well, I'll tell you what I did wrong is I just didn't put the effort into the other marriages and finding a way to make it work. And then when I finally got to Miles, I was like, we're going to make this work come hell or high water. I'm not doing this again. I'm just like, and that's kind of the way that they used to do things back in the olden days, back before divorce was so prevalent. You just kind of stuck it out, whether you wanted to or not. Like couples like Miles folks, I call them Grandma and Grandpa Hewitt, but in our grandparents, you just stayed together. That's what you did. And so it's so funny how it's so easy it is to look at a different person and just say, this would be a much easier relationship. And it's simply not.
Yeah. In fact, underneath my wedding ring, I have it tattooed. The only way either of us are getting out of this relationship is in a body bag. No, I'm teasing. That is wrong. When the morticians come to get me and be like, we're so sad. And, that's the only way. That's it right there. That's underneath my wedding. I'm teasing.
Yeah, I'm not doing this again.
I have come to the point where spending time gazing over the fence, Cristy, is such a waste of my time. It's such a waste of my time. What can I do right now to make Brandon feel more cared about? What can I do to make him feel more loved? And you do the same thing for Miles. What can I do? Like looking for new best friends. Chrissy's my best friend. What can I do today to make Cristy know how much I appreciate her? So, I send her crazy pictures that I would only do for her and nobody else, or I tell her, I appreciate you. Instead of standing there going, oh my God, that girl at the gym has the cutest hair. I think she'd be the best friend for me. And, and always wasting my whole life looking over the fence, Cristy. I'm not going to do it. I'm not. Now, are we saying don't design a life you love? No, we're not saying that. We're saying, but the Bible talks about envy and how envy just consumes you. So looking over the fence is the same thing as being envious and jealous, isn't it? I mean, that's how I would define it.
And coveting. Yeah.
Coveting.
Yeah. I absolutely believe, and I am inspired by, Tom Bilyeu is an entrepreneur. He owned the company Quest bars, the Quest nutrition.
Oh,
and Tom Bilyeu took Quest. He created Quest. It was a zero, nothing. And he made it over $1 billion, billion with a B industry in 5 years. And I think, oh my gosh. I mean, I've been doing Code Red, as you guys all know it, for 5 years. I've been in this industry for 25 years, but I've been doing Code Red like you guys know me for 5 years. And I'm like, whoa. I mean, and so I love being inspired by other people. I love that, but I don't covet what other people have, and I'm not envious. I say, what are they doing that I could adopt and model my business after to reach more people?
Right. People that we know that have been married for 30, 40, 50 years. Like, what are they doing that I can use in my relationship? How have they figured it out? I don't believe this don't go to bed angry crap though, Cristy.
I know.
Because I gotta tell you, like, you never go to bed angry at your husband, not even just kind of pissed off, like you kiss him and roll over real quick. Like, come on now, Betty, tell me the truth. Okay, that has nothing to do with this topic, but I agree with you. I've never known you to be like, oh, I wish Code Red could be here, because for every minute that Cristy would spend doing that is 1 minute less that she is thinking of products that would work for you guys, that she's thinking of programs that would work for you guys, that she's thinking of items and how can we reach more people. If she spent time worrying about the Quest bar, then she would not be working on trying to reach more sick people.
Entrepreneurs solve problems. That's what the definition of an entrepreneur. We solve problems, and I'm constantly trying to solve your problem, trying to come at this whole this weight loss and weight regain problem that we have in this country, and thinking, how can I prevent Karen from regaining her weight? And, Cari and I have this niece, Ellie, and I think at the time right now she's 22. And 23. She said one time, she's 23 already. Dear God in heaven, where is the time going? And she said one time, we have these family friends, longtime family friends for decades, Dave and Linda Johnson. And Ellie said when she was little, she goes, Aunt Cristy, Dave and Linda Johnson have the perfect marriage. And I said, oh, honey, no, nobody has the perfect marriage. She said, but Aunt Cristy, they never fight and they're still together. I said, well, honey, you're not seeing them fight. You're not seeing the arguments. You're not seeing the problems that they have. Just like Cari, you and I growing up, we never saw any problems that mom and dad had. And so I was really led to believe that marriages really are perfect. Like, unless they act exactly like, no, we just didn't see the ugly behind the scenes. And
that was hard for me, because when I very first got married the first time, I was like, wait a minute, what? Like, you fight? I had no idea with my husband before I had no idea. And I mean, that's great for our parents. Like, that's the way they wanted to run their life. We're not being critical of that, but I'm saying, Cristy, like, I had no idea. Well, let me just tell you, Anne-Marie knows that people argue. Now, do we ever say, we don't talk mean to each other? We never belittle, but do we argue about stuff? Yeah. And when my sister Laura was living here, she used to laugh so hard. She said, you guys are the funniest arguers I've ever seen, because we just kind of blow up, but we're both forgivers and we blow up and then we're fine. But you're right, Cristy. It's kind of like people say, well, if I had the money that Cristy Code Red had, or if I had the money that, guess what? Mo money, mo problems.
Yep.
Sorry, did I do that right? Because I could do it again.
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, pretty good.
You have bigger money, you got bigger problems. Quite frankly, although I'm very proud of Cristy where she is, I don't want to deal with just the tax headache that Cristy has. Sorry, sis. I hope I'm not stressing you out by mentioning that. It is a lot of responsibility. To whom much is given, much is required. And so I think to myself, yeah, I'm okay staying where I am. Like, I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not okay. I'm not settling, but I'm okay because I see how much more work it is when you go to different levels. Everyone thinks, oh yeah, so-and-so. Let me just tell you. And it's the same thing with relationships. We don't know what the path other people walk. So as you're staring across that green and you're looking at that green grass in other pasture, you're kind of seeing a facade. The grass looks green, but you're not seeing everything that's going on behind the scenes.
I think about biohackers. There are biohackers out there. Chris Gethin is, in my mind, and in like Tim Greenfield. Anyway, Ben Greenfield. Okay, the ultimate, a Dave Asprey, they're just biohacking. And those guys do it right. But then you talked about normal people who want to be biohackers, or normal people who talk about I'm biohacking, and they, you get some normal guy that's sleeping in an EMF blocking tent over his bed, but yet he's still eating Twinkies and Red Bulls every day. I just think, really, like, you guys want to go down this path and you think this is the answer. You look at Chris Gethin and you say, oh, I want to be just like Chris Gethin, but you're not. You're not nailing the basics. You're not doing everything. Chris is only showing, Chris talks about biohacking and it really works for him. And people see that grass on the other side of the fence, but they don't see all the little things he does: the water, the sleep, all the training, the ice baths, the sauna, 270-degree sauna. They don't see any of that other stuff. They just see that he sleeps in an EMF blocking tent. And so that must be the answer. And they're cherry picking all the answers. There isn't just one magic bullet.
And that is the same, Cristy, of people in the church setting. When you said cherry picking, that reminded me of it. Have you ever noticed, like, when we were growing up, we grew up in a very evangelical church, a very Holy Spirit filled church that had a lot of, for those of you that haven't grown up in church, there were people that operated in the gift of prophecy, and they would come and they felt like the Lord had given them a message for somebody. And then they would give that message to that person, be like, this is what I feel like I need to tell you. That's a really simplified version of what prophecy is. Well, this is the same idea of looking across the fence. I'd be like, oh, I want to do that. Like, I want that gift. But y'all, like, nobody thinks about the hours that these people spend in prayer and the sacrifices, personal sacrifices that they've had to make in their life in order for the Lord to really trust them on that level. And the traveling, the burden, just the spiritual burden alone of carrying around that kind of responsibility and that kind of gift, because a prophet is only as good as their last prophecy. Let's be honest. I mean, if the last one you didn't work out, it's like, something's not quite right. Check your connection. Hello, tap, 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 tap. Am I hearing from you, God? So the same thing is true of people who hold these really awesome places of authority in the kingdom of the Lord, is that there's a lot that comes with that gifting. And so don't be so quick to ask for it unless you know on the other side of the fence what's going on over there, because it's a totally different world.
Joyce Meyer, who is, in my opinion, I think the largest, most popular evangelist on the planet, she says, don't ever wish you were on this stage. Don't ever wish you were in my position, because I have to sacrifice more than you even know to be here. To be doing what I'm doing, I am under so much scrutiny, so much pressure, and it's incredible. She always says that. Don't ever wish that you were, and don't ever wish you were anybody else. Don't ever wish you were Chris Gethin. Don't ever wish that, because my gosh, what those guys go through to get where they are, I don't know if you'd want that kind of life if you really knew all the details. Of course, social media and people don't let you see all the details. They show you this, they show you that. Just like those fitness influencers will show that they have these ripped physiques, they're super lean and low body fat, and then they're eating pizza and they're like, or The Rock does this, cheat day, and they're eating pizza, and you're like, oh no, 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 no. And that gives the wrong impression. It makes them seem like they look like that and they eat pizza, but you don't see the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 other meals they're eating that are perfectly balanced and clean.
Cristy, one thing I appreciate about you, and I know we talked about it before on this podcast, is your ability to be authentic on social media. And I try very hard to be authentic as well. I'm not anywhere, as good of it as you are, but that's one thing you're going to see with us. But even with that authenticity, people say, I want to come to your farm, Cari. I want to come to your farm. And I love that. But nobody knows the time that I held Tom a turkey because he got attacked, and I cried and cried and cried and stitched him up with a sewing needle and thread. Y'all that know me know who Tom a turkey is, and put betadine on his wound, and then got on my Voxer on my phone and cried to Cristy about it. Tears. It's like, yeah, it looks like fun to go out there and pet the pigs, and it looks like fun to have Ginger the goat chase me around. But there are things about this life that are very hard. You guys don't even realize the number of hateful and mean messages. Cristy doesn't talk about it, that she gets on a daily basis. Hateful, like really bad stuff. Like, I'm glad she doesn't let it bother her. She lets it roll off her back like a duck, water off a duck's back. But still, it's not all that great. There are some really bad parts. So don't, before you think that you might want to walk somebody else's walk, just think long and hard about it. It's a lot different. And people don't even know what's really going on with your life. Do you know that there are people out there that look at your life, Bob, Mary, Judy, Sally, whoever's listening, and they want to be like you? Yeah, it's the same. Guys, we're all in the same boat, just looking over the fence into somebody else's yard.
And it's a real waste of time to do that. It is really just wait. And guys, they say time runs out. No, time doesn't run out. Your life runs out. Time, there's an infinite amount of time. It's your life. And to spend your life, your days looking over the fence and admiring someone else's pasture, I could say, hey, maybe you could go ask Farmer John, hey, John, how do you get this grass so green? Find out what he does and then fertilize your grass with the same stuff that John does. That's about as much as I would, I seek advice, seek wise counsel for sure. If that's somebody that you trust, but don't just covet, don't just admire. And we spend your days going, and same thing with weight loss. I think that we've all tried a lot of stuff that has, one of our rebels from years ago, Cari, she lives in Cottonwood, and she told us, and she's in the first Code Red Revolution book. She said, I spent $10,000 on different diet. I spent $14,000 on different diets over the course of 10 years, failed diets, one right after the other, thinking it was gonna be the one. And it isn't. It isn't. You got to get real food, water, and sleep. That's the basis. And you can shift around the macros, you can shift around the meal timing. There are little tweaks you can make, but if you're not sleeping, nothing is going to work. There's no diet out there that's going to work. If you are not drinking your water, nothing is. If you're living on Diet Coke, your health will not improve. And if you're having chemically processed food, it won't work. It's got to be real food. The rest you can tweak, but you've got to nail the real food, water, and sleep. You can't be thinking that, well, Sally, or like my mailman looks really good. What did you do? I'll just do what you did. Remember the old comedian Mike Warnke? He says, you always walk up to a skinny person and say, what did you do? I'll just do what you did, and that's just not the way it works. It's you can't just go try a bunch of stuff just because you see, I'm getting down a different rabbit hole, but I think you get that. Hi, Zeke. For those of you,
sorry, I'm sorry.
There's Zeke is in the background.
Sorry, guys, my pit bulls are wild. What I was gonna say was he's upset because somebody else has his toy. So stay in your own pasture. Stay in your own pasture. The pills aren't going to work. The shakes aren't going to work. The crazy beach body stuff is not going to It's not going to work. The crazy ideas, the weird wake up, lemon pepper, cayenne, drink a gallon of water, the army diet, hot dog a day diet, the onion diet, none of it's going to work, guys. Stay in your own field, eat the grass in your field, and do what you know works, which is the proper human diet. I love that you brought this back around to eating. That's excellent.
Well, the grass is greener where you water it.
Yes.
And
we drink a gallon of water a day. So
right,
our grass
right.
is green.
We're
Just say.
That's right. We're watering ourselves. The grass is greener where you water it, where you take care of it. Take care of your own pasture, your own lawn, your own sheep, your own everything. Stop worrying about what your neighbor John is doing. It just doesn't matter, you guys. Of course, I want to repeat one more time. It's okay to seek wise counsel. It's okay to get advice from people who are maybe nailing that one thing you're trying to get. I have 3 business coaches. I mean, don't think for one second I don't seek advice. I always seek advice. I'm always asking Miles things. He is wiser than me on certain things, on a lot of things. So I'm not saying don't do that, but don't sit there and gaze and admire and wish. Take care of your own stuff.
Be inspired, but don't let the envy stop you from moving forward. Be inspired, but don't be envious to where you can't do more than you want to do in your life.
The best place to get started with Code Red is a 10-pound takedown challenge, 10poundtakedown.com, the number 10, POUND, takedown.com. We have another challenge starting soon because we have them every month. So if you missed last month's challenge, you can always get in on next month's challenge. But if you want to skip to the front of the line, you can get a custom program by going to the website, coderedlifestyle.com. Click on programs, and we'll get you a customized nutrition program. But you have to be ready to work if you're going to do that. You can't be ready to argue or do the workaround or anything. This is a no joke program, but a challenge is a great place to get started. And Cari, as always, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast of the grass is always greener. I was trying to think of, is that what I'm going to name it? I think that's what I'm going to name it. The grass is always greener.
You're welcome. I had fun.
All right, you guys, we'll see you on the next episode of Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle. If you're not subscribed already, please be sure to do that right now. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you could do me a quick favor and rate and review this podcast. That would be just so helpful. Speaking of help, let me know if I can help you. Go to coderedlifestyle.com, check out my programs, and see what we can do for you. Until next time, Rebel on.